what we were really trying to do is just develop a much faster bike. And whatever it took to get there was what we wanted to do. And
so that's cost him a little bit more time, probably. Finds himself 6.6. Oh, a big one for Kerr.
Wow. Interrogation. I remember exactly where I was. I was sleeping, and I had forgotten to turn off like my do not disturb, and it was somewhere between 1:30 a.m. and 3 in the morning, and my phone dings, and it's Bernard telling me he crashed, that the bike broke on live feed. And then a bunch of photos of like dirt filling the head tube and the top tube, where the top tube and the down tube were just buried into the ground.
And he was absolutely he was our best tester when he was a young kid racing for us. We could have bikes all over the place, people riding them everywhere, and we'd send something to him and he'd find the best way to break it sometimes, you know. And so it was great because we knew if we just sent it to him, we'd get there. I mean, we do a lot of other testing, of course, but sometimes real world riding is just not that predictable. And so he had a talent for that in his earlier days, but his riding has changed immensely over the years. And not that one way was better than the other, but I think he rides a bit smoother than he used to and a little cleaner.
Yeah, I've known Bernard 14, 15 years, maybe a little bit longer. We had a new UK distributor, and he said, we have this up and coming kid that we'd like to sponsor. Could you give us a frame? And it was Bernard Kerr. And then the next call was, Bernard wants to do some World Cups. Can he pit out of your team? Sure, why not? And then the next calls were from the team manager that this guy's breaking all of our parts, and he's just tough on stuff, and he's taking all of my time, and I need to really focus on the other riders. Yeah, we had gone the better part of a World Cup season, and top World Cup guys, we hadn't had a single frame failure. Bernard had his first frame 3 days and broke it, and I think the next one went 2 weeks. He became a really invaluable tester from that point on. That he's just rough on shit. There's only so much testing you can do. You gotta design the bike for 99.9% of the people, but there's always that 0.1%, that person that can just break anything. He might just be that guy.
Oh, he's done it! He's done it, sports fans! I'm impressed. That was solid. He's getting $10.
I saw the first drawing probably like February in Chile. I saw it, and it was Kevin and Dave Weagle and Chris and everyone coming up with it, and it was just trying to make a new bike. We'd had the other one for a while. It was an amazing bike. I did really good on it at the World Cups, but they just wanted to come up with something new. And obviously this mullet thing, like the smaller back wheel, has become like a big thing in downhill, and everyone's pushing for it. And just innovation. Chris at Pivot, even though he's like a company owner, he's like an engineer at heart, and he always wants to innovate and make his bikes better. And he's always looking ahead, asking me like, what could we do better here? Is this good? Is this good? I've been really involved with I think the aesthetics as well. I want the bike to look good. They asked me about that, and what did I think of the 2 chains? Like that was really out the gate, the first thing we saw in the drawing when it was like a CAD drawing. And I was hyped on it. I was kind of nervous at the start, but then I was like, this is so cool, something so different. Riding it around the car park for the first time was unreal. It was kind of like nervous. I was in Pheonix at the headquarters, and there was like 10 of them, like Kevin, everyone, like the chief engineers, everyone from R&D, watching me pedal the bike around the car park. So you're like real nervous just pedaling it. It was unbelievably exciting and then terrifying, because we're up on the rockiest trails you've ever seen in Arizona, and I haven't ridden them for a while. I would say you can just mow stuff down. It gives you like a real strong confidence. It's slightly longer, obviously the reach and things, but the biggest is honestly the suspension platform. I feel like Like, oh, I need to brake here. Why do you need to brake here? You're going in a straight line. Obviously turns are hard and you need bike skill, but often we do ride stuff at World Cup tracks where it is just letting off the brakes, you know, earlier than someone else, or not braking as much into a section.
This bit's so gnarly.
I always enjoy Bernard's visits because he gets so excited about all the things that we're doing. He's like a little kid in a candy store, and he's got his hand in, oh, this is so cool, what are you doing here? And so it brings an excitement for our team too, because he's so passionate about what he does. I have been with Pivot from the very beginning. I built the very first Mach 4 and Mach 5. I used to have a machine shop, and I built those in my machine shop. My name is Bill Kibler. I'm the manager of R&D and also the QC manager. Whatever Chris and Kevin dream up, I try to make a reality. We originally made all of our prototypes in aluminum, and so you could make changes and stuff, but you can't really, we got close to ride feel and quality, but you can't really get there. So doing the lugged version, we did do some full layup, but to make the molds and all the pieces that go along with it, and then if you didn't like something, you got to start all over from scratch. So doing the lugged version, we can minimize the extra work that you have to do and the molds and the support pieces that you have to have, and so we can do it relatively quick. We had a very short timeline here to pull off a lot of. We actually designed 2 different frames to test in the beginning, and so we just stayed focused and put it all together and basically made it just in time.
I do remember exactly where I was. Yeah, it was that Sunday. I think I had gone to the park with some friends and we were just hanging out, and then I got back home and I got the email from Chris about the whole rundown. All the feeling just left my body. It's just numb. I had to reread it, and it is the most dejected probably I've ever felt in terms of something that I personally worked on, because Bernard and everybody has trust in us. You know, we have a relationship that we make the bike in all ways as great as possible. And so my first thought obviously was, is he okay? Because if that was somebody else being injured because of that, you as somebody who had a hand in making it and having them, like I said, they trust you to do that. You definitely always have that feeling of man, what did we do wrong and what could have changed? And difficult to go to sleep that night. It was difficult to wake up and come into work the next day. And I walked in and just looked at Bill, and we're just damn.
The reason it failed is it's actually almost comical. We had a bunch of press here for the Switchblade launch, and they were all very excited to see Bernard's bike being bonded. And so we took longer to bond it, an extended amount of time, and slowed down all the processes, and maybe a few more hands touched lugs after they had been etched than should have. It should have gone right to the process, and bam, bam, bam. Time is everything on this stuff, and even slowing down, letting the glue sit out, having that etchant sit out minutes longer than the process, it made a huge difference, because the bikes that were made the day before, the bikes that were made the day after, we couldn't find another frame in that batch that had a problem. And even more crushing at the time was the fact that we were getting all the Pivot Next Gen kids on their bikes. We've got parents from the junior kids calling us, should we be worried about the bike our kid's riding? And well, yeah, hell yeah, you should be worried. We need to get that back here. And we really had to figure out what happened, why it happened, and ensure that it could never happen again. And then also build everybody brand new bikes. So it's a big project.
We put ourselves out there because we knew that the bike was going to be so good, and it is so good. Part of that is you have everybody's eyes on you, and when everybody's eyes are on you and you're front and center, you really are under a lot of pressure to perform well. Until the moment that something goes astray, people seem to forget that it really is just our attempt at just making the best bike possible in the shortest amount of time. Main upside of R&D is that it's usually one-offs. When you're really trying to get every ounce of productivity out of like a mass-produced frame, you want to find where you can really make everything uniform. But for us, even if it takes us a little bit more time for something that we really need to hammer in, we can just tighten our tolerances to the utmost degree and hold something if we really need to have that meet our specifications. And I think that that is an upside for sure, because if we really needed to just bang, bang, bang out frames, it'd be a lot harder to do that. And of course, at scale, for production in factories, that's no problem for them.
So I handle all like the carbon related activities as far as making the prototype bikes. So I do the carbon layup and then prep the tubes for bonding and then help bond. There's a lot you can do as far as carbon layup for the ride tuning. So you can change like how thick the tubes are, you can bulk up certain areas. Some areas are actually like solid. Pretty much they just tell me like when I'm making the tubes, they tell me like we need a tube to be this thick. We're completely in control of like the quality, but it's more so for rapid prototyping because we can get a bike from a design, get the molds done, get the carbon tubes done, bond it together in like a couple weeks. So it's significantly faster than trying to get a factory to build a bike for us. And if we need to make a change, it's easier for us to make changes in-house like that.
We're a company built by nerds, I think, really, when it comes down to it. So we really enjoy trying new stuff out. And so sure, this is, I mean, maybe it's more like a leaf, but it's also a stepping stone to us doing better stuff moving forward. We knew we wanted to do like a mid-high pivot. We wanted to at least try a mid-high pivot bike. And for us, that was the way that made the most sense. This 6-bar system with the 2 chains is a good way to go about it. A lot of those high pivot bikes are stretching out a ton when they're in corners and stuff. And that really was something we didn't want to have, that like varying geometry while you're trying to make a corner. So going somewhere in the middle, having that compromise gets you a bike that will still corner consistently. You know, my desire to make the best bike we can make and to have fun on them. I was looking forward to making 2. How could you not enjoy that? It was pretty fun.
I would say earlier on, Bernard didn't like change. Because when we came out with the 27.5 wheels, he didn't want 27.5 wheels. And then when he was on our prototype aluminum 27.5 bike, he had his best finish ever in any pro downhill race. And he's like, okay, I like 27.5 wheels. And then the 29-inch thing is kind of where we felt we needed to go. There's only so far we could go up with DW Link without affecting things we knew just wouldn't work on pedal kickback. We were talking to Dave Weigel about wanting to compensate for that, and we do want to work on testing a mid-high pivot design and seeing how much more speed and bump absorption we could get out of the system. Can we get the travel back that we lost when we went to 29-inch wheels and then some? What can we do to make this the ultimate World Cup bike? Certainly on geometry and certain things he was asking for, but Bernard's really the driver on what everybody on the team, the direction they want to go, and they really follow his bike setup and what he wants in a bike. So the feedback on that and all the testing, we had a lot more time to refine and learn and dial things in with the team. And so yeah, him, his mechanic, the whole team has really had the opportunity to develop this bike into what the production bike will be.
This new bike is certainly has some new structural elements and stuff in it that are a little different than any other bike we've ever done.
My goal is always, you know, I look at the designs that Chris and Kevin are going towards, and then I just focus on getting them done, making sure that it's all right and that we don't make any mistakes, because they're all exciting to make. And so they both had different characteristics, and to be able to put them all together and then see the final product and then let the team be the judge on it, that was kind of like the icing on the cake.
The future of Pivot Factory Racing, honestly, hopefully just more of the same. More races, more wins. We want to build up. We've got to win a World Cup. And a dream of mine would be to win a World Cup as a team, because they do like the overall team of the day. And I would love nothing more to win that as like the Pivot team, like, because I've started this from so long ago now. That would probably be the coolest thing we could ever do. Like, I would love to win a race, but I think I would rather win as a team of the day. We've done it in Enduro a number of times, and that has been unreal. We won the overall as a team in Enduro, but if we could win a downhill World Cup team of the day, that would be awesome. So more racing, hopefully the sport just continues to grow and the hard lines get bigger and better and the World Cups continue to grow. We go to some cool new venues, would be rad.
Passion and evolution. I mean, we're not generally a company to throw the baby out with the bathwater. We start on a process and we refine and we refine and we refine. And so the evolution of where this has come to, and then the passion of why we're doing it. There's so many little pieces and so many things going on this bike that at this point have nothing to do with the rest of our line or the success of our company. But everybody in that R&D shop, everybody in design, I mean, everybody in the company is so into it, and our customers are into it too. So it's really the passion of doing this and seeing what we're capable of and seeing what the products we build are capable of.